What is coral? Coral is a marine invertebrate that provides a home to many other species in the ecosystem.
Why is the coral dying? There are many causes for the coral reef in the Indian Ocean to die. One of the biggest causes is the impact that humans make on this coral reef. They induce overfishing, pollution, and coral mining. The coral aren't dying just because of humans, they can also die due to natural causes such as tsunamis and earthquakes.
What is algae? Algae is a non-flowering plant of a large group that includes seaweeds and many single-celled forms, which is the first organism that can grow in any ecosystem.
Warmer water temperatures can result in coral bleaching. When water is too warm, corals will expel the algae living in their tissues, causing the coral to turn completely white. This is called coral bleaching.
Role of the coral. Coral actually has more than one ecological role. The roles are as follows. They protect coastlines from damaging effects of tropical storms. They provide habitats for various other species. They're the source of nitrogen and other essential nutrients for the food chain and help with nutrient recycling.
Coral and algae partake in a mutualistic or symbiotic relationship because coral provides a home and the vital components necessary for photosynthesis. In exchange, algae helps the coral by removing wastage by producing oxygen.
Coral and algae are an example of a mutualistic relationship. The coral creates a protective environment and the compounds the algae need for photosynthesis in exchange. The algae produces oxygen and helps remove the waste from the coral, while also allowing the coral to benefit off of the product's photosynthesis, which is glucose, glycerol, and amino acids. An example of parasitic relationships in the coral reef would be crustaceans attached onto various species of fish as the fish swim by. The crustaceans primarily do this in order to eat the food particles swimming around or on the fish as the fish swims. However, when a lot of food particles accumulate on the fish, this relationship then becomes parasitic because the crustacean proceeds to eat bits and pieces of the fish as well, weakening the fish and potentially killing the fish due to blood loss.
Anemone and hermit crabs. Young hermit crabs will often pick up a young sea anemone to attach to their shell and they become partners for life. They even grow at roughly the same rate. When hermit crabs outgrow their shell, they often take the sea anemone with them to the new one. Some sea anemones have gone so far as to cover most of the surface of the hermit crab's shell, so when the crab eventually outgrows the shell, he doesn't have to move. Anemone and clownfish. For production, clownfish seek refuge among the tentacles of sea anemone. The tentacles contain harpoon-like seeding capsules called nematocytes that the anemone employs to capture prey and ward off predators. In a yet-to-be-resolved biological mystery, clownfish have mucus on their skin that somehow protects them against the sting of their host anemone. As a result, the clownfish are able to stick near the host, which is avoided by most other fish in the sea. The clownfish gets protection by hiding sting-free among the tentacles. If you remove the clownfish, large butterfly fish will eat the anemone.
Keystone species in the coral reef is, as the name suggests, coral. A keystone species, any species upon which the whole ecosystem is dependent on, and if that particular species was to be removed from the ecosystem would weaken and potentially be destroyed. Coral is an example of a marine life keystone species. Coral acts as a keystone species by being the first line of defense against a tropical storm. Coral reefs are also home to millions of marine life species. If coral was to be taken out of the ecosystem, these millions of species would be put at risk of extinction because they would no longer have a home. Also, the 4 million humans who live in the Bay Area or on any coastal surface would be at risk solely because of the coral reef providing protection from tropical storms. The whole ecosystem would be put at extreme disadvantage.
There are 3 different and distinct human actions that affect the ecosystem. The first one is the rapid growth of tourist industry and the rapid growth of other establishments. Some of these establishments may very well be for coral mining and gyrones projects. Results of action. Industrial growth can lead to more pollutants ending up in the Indian Ocean. This can greatly damage these huge and undisturbed coral reefs. If this continues, coral reefs will be left broken into bits and pieces, leaving many fishes homeless. Second, mechanical fishing. Mechanical fishing may lead to possibility of overfishing, hence hurting the ecosystem even further due to the loss of important species of fish. If the biodiversity of fish decreases, many different food chains will be broken. As time goes on, the trophic levels will start to become a big problem. The rate of genetic variation most likely won't be fast enough to survive such conditions.
Siltation, potential oil leaks, and anchor damage is the third reason for coral to die off. Ship transport has a huge impact on coral reefs because of the accidents that ships can have, damage that ruins the corals and survival. For an example, siltation from speedboats can get onto coral. Siltation is a type of sediment which blocks light from reaching coral. Not only that, once sediment settles into the coral, it gets trapped, thus burying it, making living conditions much more difficult. Over time, siltation will ruin the living conditions for coral survival, thus killing off drastic amount of coral and fish.
Although the reef itself faces many threats from human civilization, the most significant of them is actually the growth and establishment of the tourist industry along with mechanized fishing. In fact, more than 65% of coral reefs in the Indian Ocean region are at risk from local tourist threats. In addition, one-third of these coral reefs are at high or very high risk of death. It is home to over 5,000 species of fish, with many who are exclusively found at the Indian Ocean. Overfishing and the climate change spurred from these events are causing a large portion of the world's coral reef to be destroyed. We can all help protect our coral reefs, which provide a significant amount of biodiversity, by not only restricting the amount of tourism in the area, but also by reducing the amount of pollution in the surrounding environment by switching to cleaner energy, reducing our carbon footprint, and switching to a renewable energy resource. We will be able to lead the way to a bright future.
Various species within the coral reef also have the ability to camouflage. Species such as the tasseled anglerfish uses its body to hide within the rocks on the coral. The anglerfish hides in order to prevent itself from being hunted. However, prey aren't the only type of species who camouflage. The mimic octopus camouflages itself by using its ink as distraction and hiding within the coral reef. Since the mimic octopus is extremely malleable, it can squeeze its body, contort its body, and then proceed to eat its prey. Finally, the most feared massive camouflage native to the Indo-Pacific reef would be the reef stonefish. The reef stonefish blends perfectly in with the surroundings and is indistinguishable from your average coral reef until it moves. The moment the reef stonefish moves, it will leap up and use its toxic spines to incapacitate its prey.